Hi, it's Chandler Klebs here, and I have another video to record. I haven't been recording very many videos recently, but since I'm off today, I really need to record this video to get my thoughts out. See, here's the deal. One of my best friends is a big supporter of this whole lab-grown meat thing. And I've decided I'm not going to debate it with him specifically anymore unless he really, really wants to discuss it, I suppose. But I just don't want it to get into a heated debate or anything because I just want to stay friends, and there's very little point. He and I are both vegans, and so it's like neither one of us are necessarily gonna be eating lab-grown meat anyway. Although he might, I don't know. But here's the thing. I've done a lot of research, and see, there are several issues with the lab-grown meat. My objections, I mean, not so much objections as concerns I have over the future of this. See, first of all, I always found it unnecessary. Okay, so number one, I found it unnecessary because people can go vegan. They just aren't educated enough on how. You know, there's nothing that we need from the flesh of animals or for dairy and eggs for that matter. And I mean, there are millions of vegans. We're still in a minority, but there's a lot of us, and people have written books, people have made tons of vegan cookbooks explaining how to make every recipe, replacing animal ingredients with plants. I mean, come on. There's absolutely no shortage of information, but people are stubborn. And my friend's argument for supporting lab-grown meat is, well, people are stubborn, and they're going to keep eating meat because they like meat. So we have to grow meat in a lab or whatever. We have to have cultured meat so that it doesn't harm animals, and we feed that to them instead. So it's an argument from futility is what it seems like. It's like basically, well, we have to give people what they want because we can't change them. And so it's like, fine, you do that, but I personally, I just find it so unnecessary that I never support it anyway. But then I recently learned about number two here, and this is what I didn't know. A lot of the time in the process of these scientists learning how to grow the cultured meat, they've been using fetal bovine serum or fetal blood serum or whatever you call it. But basically, they are using serum from the blood that they collect from unborn calves. And I read this 22-page PDF that Pafo sent me on it, and so that's a concern. So obviously a vegan cannot support or buy meat that was grown using the blood of animals that were murdered to obtain that blood. So obviously vegans can't support that. But then, this other guy, he mentioned that he gave me a link where they've talked about that they're now making some lab-grown burgers and stuff that don't use any of that serum, don't use any blood from animals. So that's good. That's right. Okay, so yeah, so if all, and this is the big thing, if all the producers of the lab-grown meat completely use only vegan solutions for growing it, and they don't use any of that serum, then yes, my objection number two is eliminated. But still, it doesn't matter because it's still unnecessary. That's my objection one. Okay, so there's objection one, that it's unnecessary. We don't need lab-grown meat. People just think they do because they think they don't get protein with that meat and weird shit like that. Objection two is that sometimes the methods used still involves the killing of animals. So that's my objection too. But then there's a third objection, even if you ignore the second one entirely, that it does nothing to change people's mindset. That it just seems like it would be so much easier explain to people that yes, you can live on a completely plant-based diet. You don't need meat, whether from factory farms or grown in a lab or cultured meat or whatever, and you don't need dairy or eggs either. And so yeah, it just seems so. Let's see, what's the way to say this? It just seems like, well, it does nothing to change the ignorant mindset, the ignorance of humans who think that they have to eat this stuff. And a fourth objection is, even if this solved the issue of the meat, it doesn't solve the dairy and egg and honey industries and all the animals that are still killed. So you're going to have people who are eating lab-grown meat, but they're going to be consuming cheese and eggs and honey, and they're not going to realize about those industries and all the animals that have to be bred and killed just for those products to exist. So people, unfortunately, it makes the situation worse because it makes people think that they're being ethical and, oh, no animals are harmed in making my food because I'm using the lab-grown meat. But no, unfortunately, it just seems so like, what would we have to do? Like, if you want to go with this cultured cell producing stuff, you would have to have not only the lab grown meat, but you also have to have the lab grown dairy, the lab grown eggs, the lab grown honey. You have to do all this stuff. And where are they going to get enough enough land, money, people to work on this to produce all those products for all the people who prefer to eat products that are bioidentical to the products that they're currently eating that come from factory farms? That seems so impractical. And yet, here's the deal. Eating plants does not require any additional research, because all that it requires is, first of all, people already have the information. If the nutritionists, dietitians, all sorts of people who are experts in nutrition already know which foods contain which nutrients, and it only requires growing of plants. And so the point is, it's so much easier. It doesn't require, we don't need scientists because we can grow plants. You don't need scientists for stuff like this about providing food, because people can grow plants. And so it becomes a matter of replacing all the factory farms with just using the land as farmland to grow the plants, producing so much plants that you probably can feed the human population, and you don't need to be feeding that food to the animals instead and then feeding those animals to humans. And since growing the cultured meat is still going to require, even if they have a whole plant-based medium for growing the cells, they still have to grow the plants to get those nutrients to feed to the cultured meat anyway. So it's still the same ridiculous thing that they're doing. So it's just so much simpler for the world to switch to a completely plant-based diet. There's nothing really impractical about it. But my friend, he says it's impractical because people are unwilling, because people want to eat meat, so we have to give them what they want. And then Pafo, he left some very good comments that I have to say this, Pafo. Thanks for this, because this is a really good analogy. It's like cloning bodies of children, growing children bodies in a lab so that child rapists can rape the cloned children rather than real children. And that's what it's like. Or like cloning the black slaves to give to the slave owners in the South in America a long time ago. They want to have black humans as slaves, so let's produce in a lab some line of black humans to be their slaves instead of these other people who are the slaves. And it's just like, no, that's not how we react to those other issues, and that's not how we should react to carnivores. We shouldn't just cater to their desires. We should show them that their desires are based off of a misunderstanding, misinformation. we've been lied to, all of us, by the meat, dairy, egg, and industry, thinking that we have to eat these products. I believed it, and I only became vegetarian when I was 25 and vegan when I was 26. After I read some books and stuff on the internet, like, whoa, I never knew this. I would have gone vegan years ago if I had known. I could have been vegan when I was a teenager if only I'd known this, but no, I didn't know this because people are ignorant. And then I learned this. I had to change everything about my life. I restructured everything about my life upon learning this truth, and realized and just thought, what else am I wrong about? What else have I been lied about? And I'll tell you, veganism for me wasn't just about a change in diet. It was about a change in regards to philosophy, in regards to ethics, in regards to religious belief. It was a change in everything, and I feel like it's made me think through so many issues, and I feel that if we just cater to the desires of people by producing meat, dairy, eggs, or honey, or whatever else grown in a lab, we're cheating them out of that experience of improving their lives and learning the way that they could be, the simple, clean way of eating plants and using only plants for things that, instead of all this stuff. We don't need factory farms, we don't need lab-grown meat, we just don't need these things. And so no matter what Jamie says, or what Trick says, or whatever, okay, it's so unnecessary, and that will always be true. And so I better not even discuss it anymore. But I feel that this video is important because this lab-grown meat thing is catching on, and people are talking about it, and other vegan YouTubers have recorded great videos on this. And I listened to one by Emily at Bite Size Vegan. I felt that was a very good video. So I recommend you look for videos by other vegans on the lab-grown meat and see what their opinions are. But as for now, you have my opinion. That's just my opinion as just a guy, a guy who records videos in my bedroom with messy hair on my days off. So that's my opinion. So take it for what you will. And, okay, whatever. That's all I have to say for now. Bye.